Hello fellow quirky people. Today we're going to look at the struggles of Zack Snyder while trying to get a project greenlit by studios.
Why?
People are afraid of what they don't understand.
There's no denying the fact that he is one of the biggest visionary directors with a loyal fan base. But there are also certain people who don't like his work at all. And by people, I don't just mean the fans. I'm talking about a big movie studio that rhymes with porno crushers. Warner Brothers used to be his home studio for a long time. He gave them successes like 300, Watchmen, and Man of Steel. But as time passed, they turned aggressively anti-Snyder. These are actually Snyder's words, not mine. They've turned down more movies from Snyder than any other studio. Before Netflix acquired the rights for Army of the Dead, it was sitting in a production limbo at Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers wasn't interested in the film at all. Snyder said that they don't want to spend that kind of money on a zombie movie, or just didn't take it that seriously. Besides Army of the Dead, there are several films that Snyder was denied or he couldn't direct. Before I get to them, it would be nice if you guys would hit the subscribe button and press the bell icon. Okay, so here is every project that Snyder couldn't direct due to cancellations or other reasons. 303. 300 is considered to be one of Snyder's best works. While his breakout movie was Dawn of the Dead, his career actually got a big boost with 300. After that, he co-wrote 2014's 300 sequel, which was directed by Noah Murrow. And very recently, Snyder revealed that he wanted to continue the franchise with a third film. Warner Bros. Asked him to write the script for a third 300 movie. He wrote it during the COVID pandemic. His idea was to focus on Alexander the Great and a romance between him and Hephaestion. He retitled this film Blood and Ashes, but Warner Brothers wasn't impressed, and they turned it down. Legend of the Guardian sequel. Snyder's first animated film was 2010's Legend of the Guardians, The Owls of Ga'Hoole. The film did not turn out to be a big success at the box office. It had a production budget of $80 million and only brought in $140 million worldwide. And like almost every other Snyder movie, the fans and the critics were divided on this one as well. But Snyder still saw potential in a sequel and wanted to continue with the franchise. At that time, the company Animal Logic was also interested in a sequel, but things couldn't pan out. Snyder went on to direct Man of Steel and got busy with framing the DC Extended Universe for Warner Bros. And Animal Logic started to work on the VFX for MCU films and WB's Lego Movie franchise. So the Legend of the Guardian sequel remained unmade. X-Men 3. Before director Brett Ratner came in to wreck X-Men The Last Stand, the film had several directors attached to it. After directing the first two X-Men films, Bryan Singer left to work on Superman Returns. Darren Aronofsky was considered for the project. Joss Whedon was also considered, but he was busy with the Wonder Woman film that was cancelled. Matthew Vaughn had signed on for a while. And before Brett Ratner, Zack Snyder was also involved. Snyder wanted to pursue the project, but he was busy with 300, which was also supposed to arrive in 2006, so he couldn't direct X-Men 3. Wolverine. This is a cinematic wonder that we've surely been robbed of. Logan turned out to be a massive success with its R rating. It made $619 million off of a $97 million budget. But back in 2007, Zack Snyder had pitched the idea of an R-rated Wolverine movie. This was an era where Hollywood did not have the hots for R-rated superhero movies. The Blade trilogy was the only franchise in that department, and even Watchmen had the fans divided back in 2009. So Snyder was denied the opportunity to make an R-rated origins film with Wolverine. And besides, he was busy with Watchmen, so he couldn't take on the project in that time slot anyway. But just imagine how great things could have been if Fox had agreed to this project. We may have got the R-rated Deadpool movie much earlier, and the Wolverine IP could have been the juggernaut of R-rated action films. But instead, we ended up getting X-Men Origins Wolverine, which was flawed or maybe mediocre at its best.
Ooh, shiny.
Writer David Benioff still wanted Origins to be R-rated, but Fox kept it PG because of the box office risk. Ultimately, that move didn't help anyway. Now that Snyder is free, He might actually have an opportunity to direct a Wolverine movie in the MCU. It'd be awesome, don't you think? Justice League 2 and Justice League 3. The most famous cancellation on this list has to be Zack Snyder's sequels to his cut of the Justice League. Despite the success of the Snydercut, Warner Bros. Did not agree to restore the Snyderverse. The director really struggled with the studio after the alterations they made to Batman vs. Superman. It was butchered, and due to the missing half an hour, the film wasn't as successful as it could have been. The rampant editing led to Warner Bros. Feeling cold feet with Snyder's entire DCEU vision. He has stated time and time again how he struggled to complete his Justice League with the studio asking for changes every day. They didn't even watch his cut until late 2019. Facing a tragedy in his family, he just didn't have the strength to fight with Warner Bros. Anymore. So he left, and his entire vision was then marvelized by Joss Whedon and Geoff Johns. His Justice League 2 and 3 were cancelled. Even when HBO Max gave the Snyder Cut a green light, Snyder was fighting to keep several planned elements in the film. Warner Bros. Still denied him a Green Lantern John Stewart cameo with actor Wayne T. Carr. But he got a Martian Manhunter cameo, and that was it. The Snyderverse and his 2 Justice League movies with Darkseid and an evil Superman still remain cancelled. Although Snyder has confirmed that he'd definitely return if he'd be called back to complete the sequels after the Discovery AT&T merger. The Atom. Green Lantern Corps, Cyborg, the Batman, and a different version of the Flash were to be spun off from Zack Snyder's Justice League. These movies aren't happening. But another story that Snyder had pitched was of the Atom. He wanted Warner Bros. To greenlight the film with an all-Asian cast. Actor Chang Kai played Ryan Choi, who was supposed to become the Atom in the film. But WB did not go forward with it. And now, they would stupidly watch the MCU reap the benefits of Shang-Chi, which also has an all-Asian cast. Star Wars. Before Lucasfilm was taken over by Disney, Snyder had pitched a standalone Star Wars to the studio. It would have been inspired by director Akira Kurosawa's film, Seven Samurai. But it would have been set up in the Star Wars universe. Snyder has been open about still wanting to do this film. He is in fact working on it outside Star Wars. But it will probably never happen in the Star Wars universe since Kathleen Kennedy has her own plans for it. SWAT. Director Clark Johnson brought us a 2003 film called SWAT. It starred big names like Samuel L. Jackson, Colin Farrell, Michelle Rodriguez, and Jeremy Renner. But before Clark Johnson, Zack Snyder was approached to direct the film. He had basically envisioned the film as a propaganda story, and he wanted to do an R-rated feature. But the studio asked for it to be PG, so he passed it on. Heavy Metal. This is the 1980s adult animated movie that was based on a magazine of the same name. It was popular for its use of graphic violence, sexuality, and nudity. Heavy Metal 2 came out in the year 2000, and since then, a third movie has had David Fincher and James Cameron as co-producers for a long time. Many directors pitched their ideas for Heavy Metal 3. Besides James Cameron, other familiar directors including Guillermo del Toro and Zack Snyder showed interest in making Part 3. But in 2014, Robert Rodriguez acquired the property rights and planned to make a TV series. Sadly, even that hasn't happened till now. Maybe after the success of Amazon Prime's Invincible, we might get the Heavy Metal series after all. Which of these cancelled Zack Snyder films would you have liked to see? Let us know in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and be sure to check out more videos on our channel. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!